I've been very wrong about Middlesbrough for most of this season.
And by God, they've hit the ground running already.
Hanson Robb seems to have got his mojo back, doesn't he?
Stoke City, top of the table under Mark Robbins.
The whole thing just feels like a trap. There's quality in that. So there's always been
Plucky Sheffield Wednesday.
I'm probably quite proud of what they've done in August.
Wrexham fans, they don't seem happy at all at the minute, do they, Ben?
Fight for the badge. Fight for the club.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Conor McGilligan. This is Benjamin Bloom, and we are back here discussing the Championship game week. And there's been a lot of big stories over the weekend. It's been a superb weekend in the Championship, and there's no better person that I could be here with other than Benjamin Bloom. Ben, how you doing, mate? All good?
I'm good, man. Feels like the washing machine has started spinning already, hasn't it? Round 3, plenty of stories, and this August churn. It's an interesting Championship table, interesting set of results as well, which we'll get into.
Yeah, and there's only 2 of us here, which is interesting. Obviously, we should really be joined by our good old Coventry friend, Simon, for this one, shouldn't we, sorry? But we'll start off, obviously, Coventry 7, QPR 1, a demolition at the CBS, and overall, obviously, it looks like Doug King's brought the stadium back as well. They own that now, of course. Absolutely fantastic news for Coventry. A 7-1 win. Had you right in the side consistently now. It's Jack Redoney committing his future to Coventry. It's all going rosy for the Sky Blues, isn't it, Ben?
Well, we were sat here a few weeks ago, kind of in the pre-season stuff, sort of talking about the Coventry need to do something at the top end of the pitch. Yeah. You know, is Ellis Sims being out of favour, excuse me, meaning that a striker is going to have to come in, and lo and behold, 2 rounds. And you got to admit, Simon, our resident Coventry fan's not here, and they're averaging 12 goals a game when he's not here. But no, and I think it speaks to the wider point of stability from one season going into the next, whilst other clubs are changing managers, QPR case in point. And it crept up on me a little bit, but you then say, okay, well, Coventry very, very steady through last season, winning streak. Then if you roll back, you've got this long growth over a few years. And is it really a surprise that they've... I know you were just talking before we came on about the narrative. Coventry always don't start until about November, do they? But given what we're probably going to discuss later in the show about more powerful, richer teams starting slowly, does look very good for Coventry the way they've come out of the gate. Spoiler alert, they're not going to score an average of 6 goals every week, but I'm sure we can get more into the kind of stars of these performances.
Yeah, Mason Clark, we mentioned Had You Right as well, Jack Redoney, Van Ewick, but I think the more surprising thing really when you're looking at it is I think it was a 1.27 XG. And
efficient.
Yeah, top in the middle as well. A lot of people criticising the QPR keeper obviously, but I think it was exceptionally harsh. They were just absolutely incredible finishes, weren't they, all the way around?
Well, Lampard pointed this out in the post-match, that Torp wasn't around for a couple of months at the end of last season. I know Sakamoto's been in and out injured. Sheff was injured last season as well. So there's also this sense...
Lost this spot now, hasn't he?
Well, but there's also this sense that they've not had to be busy in the transfer market, and these players kind of dripping back in. Obviously, Kessler-Hayden in for Van Eric's still there, Sargent's still there, El Canusa's still there. Don't talk to me about the transfer window running to the end of August. But there's this sense that everything's not just stable but growing as well. And Rudoni building on the end of last season where he was a bit hot hand, and I've always said, who do you want as your manager if you're an attacking midfielder arriving in the box trying to get 15 goals a season? There's no one better. And I think we're seeing now Ephraim Mason Clark, because that was a slow burn, wasn't it, because he got loaned back to Peterborough. That's now working out really well. And the one, I don't know about you, the one that surprised me a bit, Brandon Thomas Asante, it looked a bit like, is he going to be rotated in and out? And it looks like a really fearsome front four, but I don't know your take. I still wouldn't be surprised if there was interest in someone coming in that area before the end of the window. But I've still got in my head that there's going to be money coming in, but that hasn't happened yet. So this is 5D chess on figuring out what Cov are going to do in the transfer window, when the argument now is what should they do? Absolutely nothing, because it's all working lovely.
Yeah. I think the squad dynamic's really good right now. I think the most important thing was, I think it was midweek, where Rodoni effectively committed his future. He's the one, isn't he? They've got to keep hold of him because, like you say, I think Thomas Asante, I think Mason Clark on the other side, but I think they are real facilitators now for Hadji Wright, but keeping just that creator in Rodoni, like you said, box arriver, heading, creativity, real innovator, dynamic. I think he is just that person within that front line that they've got to keep toward the back end of the window. We'll talk about another player who I'm going to touch on, who I think a certain other club have got to keep hold of, but Rodoni's that person, isn't he, Ben? Sure.
Yeah, he was great, and it always happens, Conor. There's always a player at the end of the season who comes really hot in the last 10, 15 games, and you don't put him in your 11 for the season, and you get a load of stick because of the recency bias. But he was the hot hand towards the end of last season. Is there any argument on shoot me down soft fixtures? Maybe a little bit to start with for Cov. It's not an unreasonable point to make, isn't it? Who have we had? Hull, Derby, QPR. So there is a kind of idea that it's going to get tougher, but get the points on the board, get the momentum going, win some games and bang in some goals.
Yeah, and scoring 7 goals in the Championship is no easy task. Slightly touch on, I think it's prevalent, we've got to touch on QPR a little bit. Julian Stefan coming in, feels like at this moment in time they're suffering from what they did last season as well in terms of the injuries.
Or what they didn't do last season in terms of the managerial situation at the end of the campaign.
100%, losing a lot of experience. We just mentioned off air, Morgan Fox moving on, Kenneth Powell moving on. Feels like they haven't replaced that. They're suffering from a lot of the same issues as they did last season, and it's strange with the window that they've had to be talking about QPR potentially again being in another relegation fight. Might be too early to call that, especially with these players coming back. Probably a similar case to that of Derby County as well. But what's your take on QPR?
It's a shame, isn't it? Because you feel a bit for the Rangers fans, because you see Sheff Utd now has the year 1 parachute job, doesn't he? And use whatever language you're comfortable with, agitating to get out. Maybe he didn't leave the higher ups at Rangers a lot of wriggle room. It took a while for the Stefan deal to be done. I was excited because who was it? Field and Dunn was linked with Premier League clubs.
Sheffield United as well.
Yeah. So I was kind of optimistic, and this may be damning with faint praise, but it felt like they went as high in the market as they could, but that was going to the top faces in League One, essentially. And I don't know, people fairly or unfairly make the argument, why hasn't a team higher up the ladder gone and taken those? But you can take a poker and it can be a massive success. But yeah, man, you don't want to be coming into a new league, a new country, and having a 7-1 against you within 2-3 games.
He's injured as well, isn't he? Poku, Cher injured as well. So
I'm excited still for Kone. I think that's a good one, and they'll get him moving and get him in the team.
Right, let's move on. The big one as well this weekend, which has caused probably second amount of controversy again, and it's another big story around Sheffield United losing at home to a rugged, tough, tenacious Millwall side. You expect it from Millwall consistently, don't you? Really struggling though, isn't he, at this moment in time, Ruben Sayers, and the board's decision, you can see it on any sort of social media platform, YouTube platform, which there are many out there. They're still very upset about this Wilder decision, and it's not proving like the correct decision so far, is it?
Well, and they're on a complete razor here, the board, and it's a win-lose razor, isn't it? And well, Sellers is, not only not winning games, but losing all of them at the moment. It just makes everybody, just adds fuel to that argument that they've made the wrong call. And of course everyone will sit here and say it's too early to conclude that or not, but you can get a vibe and you can get a feeling early into somebody's tenure, can't you, of how this is going. It's not going well. It could turn, but not only is it not going well, Conor, it's a hell of a drop-off, isn't it, from a team that scored 92 on pitch last season, and really, God bless you, Sunderland, but really should have won that playoff final, shouldn't they, with 20 minutes out and having the lead. So, yeah, are you getting the vibes from Jukanovic when he went in a few years ago and He was credible. He had 2 promotions on his CV, better CV than Sellers has got. But you just got the sense here and it wasn't. I'm going to David Brent now. It wasn't. it wasn't working between the club and the fans. And he's got to get that buy-in soon. And I get why he's going to come out in an interview and defend his tactics and defend his team. But it's hard to do. I've got a table sat in front of me with 0 points. 0 wins and a -5 goal difference.
It's the 2 coming up as well, Boro and Ipswich.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, and an international praiser. He's got. We'll talk about this as we come on into kind of the looking ahead segment of the show, Connor. But there's a lot of teams who need something from that last game before international break. You can just switch the narrative of a result when you go away for 2 weeks beforehand, can't you?
Of course you can. Millwall as well. It almost feels disrespectful talking about Millwall in this way, really. It's almost like, I mentioned at the start, the team were tenacious and gritty and all this sort of stuff, but they're a constant problem for big teams in the Championship, aren't they, Ben? And Kundal getting the goal. Coburn was unlucky, was a threat throughout. It felt like a game of 2 halves, obviously, but it looks like, interestingly, between the 2 clubs, Tanganga is probably going to go.
That was the
Sheffield
one
United.
word that was in the comments on All My Reflections was Tanganga.
Yeah, but then Sheffield United bringing in Godfrey, him and Tanganga could be a really good partnership back there, depending on where they're playing. But looking from a Millwall standpoint, how are you feeling about them so far this season?
A little bit confused. Gone to Norwich and won, gone to Sheffield United and won, and then there's that dreadful second half against Middlesbrough at home. Yeah, when it went 3-0. So the Millwall fans are all going to be hoping that one half was the outlier and, it's a solid team. But it's no surprise. I looked up on the head-to-head. April, Sheffield United, you'll remember as a Leeds fan, Sheffield United's horror week. They went to Bramall Lane and won 1-0 just a few months ago. And I'd struggled to not do this when I was doing my manager rankings at the start of the season. Alex Neil's very credible. When you look at the fact that the relegated teams, like Cifuentes is in 1, he's only been here a couple of years, Will Still is completely new, Sayers as well, and you look who are the most credible managers with lots of experience, say at Preston for years, promotion with Norwich. You could have plenty worse. We'll talk about Stoke later, but plenty of, been into Stoke and failed, haven't they? But very credible manager, very credible club, very stable ownership, but they always tease us, don't they? And not quite finish in the playoffs. Yeah,
shout out to Millwall's goalkeeper as well, Bender. I thought he had a brilliant game. Excellent save from Gus Hamer towards the end. Moving on, you're not going to like this one. Preston 1, Ipswich 0.
Is this what we brought Simon in to talk about?
Confused again. Look at the game and you take a step back, look at the stats. You look at it and Ipswich, I think 15 shots to Preston's 2. I think Ipswich got 2 on target, to be fair, in comparison to Preston's 1. Feels like, from my perspective, Jadon Philogene on one side, Jack Clark on the other are offering something very, very similar. The end product isn't quite there at this moment in time, it feels. It's been a bit of a stuttering start as well, hasn't it, Ben? When it
I think you're being kind there, aren't you?
Ipswich fans in the chat. But yeah, and it's not quite clicking for Ipswich at this moment in time. Obviously been a fan of the club. What's your take so far?
My take is the first thing we should do, because you and I will get our knuckles wrapped, is say well done Preston, who have in consecutive weeks beaten Leicester and Ipswich. And yeah, you're right to point out the stats, and you see one of those lovely attack momentum graphs where you get a nice big blob for Preston at the start of the game and then the rest of it's just blue. But no, fair play Preston. We talk about those things that teams you expect to be in a fight need to do. Be good at home, start games well. Can you have a keeper playing well, and can you have a striker scoring goals in every game? And they've done a job now on Ipswich and Leicester. Drew the first game as well, so I'm undefeated. And I don't know about you, I had Preston quite low down in my 1-24. So the first thing is fair play to Preston, and that'll probably do for the analysis of that game, won't it?
Well, yeah, fair enough. It does feel a little bit, and it's going to be interesting to see where Akpom fits in a little bit. That'll be interesting as well. The Hurst conversation. Obviously at this moment in time, Delap leaving, it's not quite working, is it? But yeah, lots of conversations with Ipswich, but I feel it's going to come good in time, Ben. He's still positive with Ipswich?
It's tricky. It's very tricky because it's a big muddle at the moment. And as Ipswich fans, this is all we ever wanted. We wanted to be in the haves, not the have-nots in the Championship. And we got the promotion out of nowhere. We got the year in the Premier League, which wasn't that much fun. But that then, in theory, should set you up for years to come, shouldn't it? And McKenna was right in his press conference to say, OK, the rocket ship progress has now made things difficult, and all of a sudden building team one into, or I suppose, McKenna's team one into McKenna's team two, something that should have been done gradually over 6 transfer windows has now been done in 2 in the main, last August and this August. And unfortunately Ipswich have lost all of the McKenna kept using the word connections in his press conference, all that pattern of play, the connections, and even though there's been tens and tens of millions invested in players, the Cladkey, Burgess, Wolfenden, Clark, Morsey, Luongo, Broadhead, gone. And those connections, even though arguably you now have a higher standard of play, you've built stars, you've built your asset base, pattern of play isn't ready. So when you go to Preston in August and they're ready to go and they've done all their business in June, you can go under 1-0. But I do accept your point. On another day, one of those chances go in and it's a 2-1 away win. But yeah, Ipswich in a muddle.
Muddle indeed. You said Broadhead. I immediately thought of Wrexham. Wrexham 2, Sheffield Wednesday 2. McNeil right at the end.
Oh!
Nearly grabbed it for Wednesday. Incredible away support as well, we have to say. But a really, really good performance from Sheffield Wednesday, you feel, under the circumstances.
Have they been way better than you expected?
Yes.
Yeah, I had Sam Parkin on my YouTube channel the other day, and he said, Ben, they're going to score some points. They're going to win some games. And I was expecting a mighty big fat 0 at this point. Yes, I know they've only got 1 point, but close against Leicester.
Youngsters as well.
Close against Leicester. Like you say, could have won this game and just way, way more competitive than we thought they would be. I do worry you get into autumn, 1 injury, 2 injuries. You assume not a lot is going to be done, but
midweek games as well.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. If I'm a Sheffield Wednesday fan, I'm probably quite proud of what they've done in August. And it could be the peak of the season. It could all tail off.
Feels like more than football right now, doesn't it, Ben? It's almost just a bit of a stand.
Just fight for the badge, fight for the club, and I just hope something can be done before the end of the window in terms of, I don't know what the situation is with embargoes, and can you bring in a loan player? Have you still got a business plan on a salary limit? Can you do something? And also, can you persuade a good professional footballer to go to, I suppose you can on a short-term loan, can't you, at the moment? But yeah, it's a better picture than I was certainly anticipating at the... I mean, look, we'll come on to Wrexham, but whose fans are going to be happier at the moment? Wednesday fans or Wrexham fans?
Wrexham fans, they don't seem happy at all at the minute, do they, Ben? It's been a bit of a baptism of fire, it feels. Did they expect it to go a little bit better than it has done, potentially? I was saying at the very beginning of the season when we were doing our preview, Parkinson, it feels if he doesn't get the required results after a certain time, there's going to be questions. It feels like those questions are coming out already. Brought in a lot of decent players, but it's not meshing quite yet, is it?
No, and they've got a similar issue to Ipswich, haven't they? That they've been successful and they're now trying to do that in a different manner different manner in terms of style of play, but at a different level with a different calibre of play. And then Callum Doyle last week, that's a nice signing that most Championship clubs are like. Young, the fabled English left-footed centre or left-sided centre-back, everyone wants one of them, don't they? Let's be fair, they were unlucky against...
Created a lot of big chances so far.
But against Southampton, Southampton should have had a red card for the penalty in that game, and they probably then go on and win it, don't they? And even in that game, there's a 1v1 at 1-0 with 10 minutes to go or what have you. I thought West Brom were quite good value in the second game, but again, they've gone 2 up in this one, and Big Kiefer's doing what he does in the Championship. But yeah, you can't switch off in this league, not even against a beleaguered Sheffield Wednesday for one half. So yeah, I suspect the majority of Wrexham fans are going to be patient given what they've been served up over the last 4 years, but it's just such a big news story always, isn't it, Wrexham? So if they go in to international break with 0 wins, and that is coming up later, Millwall away, then you know what the narrative's going to be over the 2 weeks of the break, don't you?
Norwich 1, Boro 2. Another brilliant result for Boro. 3 in 3. Rob Edwards, Barmy Army, Ben. Doing all right, aren't they?
They are, and really caught me out on this one. I've been very wrong about Middlesbrough for most of this season. And it feels like they've done really well in spite of kind of instability there, because we were sat here in the preview and the whole narrative was, right, so the big asset is Hackney will be sold and they will build a squad based around him being sold. And then he doesn't get sold. Game 2, he's in the team scoring goals. And now we're saying, okay, Hackney and Morris in central midfield for a season with Azaz and Conway, and, you know, happy days if they're going to keep hold of him. And I don't know, Handsome Rob seems to have got his mojo back, doesn't it? It has been a bit coin flippy a couple of times. First game, set piece in a nothing burger against Swansea and they get the 3 points. Fair play in the game against Millwall, but in the first half, that could have swung the other way. It feels like, do you ever feel August feels a little bit like cup football sometimes while everyone's getting their squad together? And Boro have just played these kind of cup ties perfectly. And talk about the cup tie thing, going away from home before half time, bang, bang, win you the game, red card swings it. But they look good. They look good, don't they, Boro?
I think they look really good at this moment in time. I think you're right with the composition effectively of that midfield. I know Azaz moves and roams in and around that front four.
Do you think he's got a higher ceiling, Azaz?
Yeah, I do.
He's quality, isn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah. He has. He's definitely got the technical, ability, but it's just so important to keep hold of Hayden Hackney. Maybe add another striker, and we're looking at Boro and thinking, who knows? Yeah. Especially with the potential drop-off of the relegated 3, who knows? Just touching on Norwich a little bit at this moment in time. It's interesting, isn't it? We're still not seeing Kvistgaarden and Sargent starting together, which is interesting in itself. Obviously, Wright sent off at the weekend as well. Norwich fans naturally not happy with that, but they actually weirdly looked a little bit better with 10 men. I thought anyway, and that's how football works sometimes, isn't it? Strange team, Norwich. Well, so far anyway. I had them in the top 6. I'm not reevaluating that yet, but it still feels like Liam Manning is struggling a little bit to get maybe that formation right as well.
Can we give him a bit of a pass with, I think it's like 11 new signings, wasn't it?
It's fitting them in though, isn't it?
And a new manager as well. And not just 11 new signings, people coming from far-flung parts of Europe. It's not just settling at a new club, settling in a new league, settling in a new country, all those cliches we hear. But when you have a core of 4 or 5 players who all have to do that at the same time, you want them to all just get going straight away, don't you? I'm still pretty high on Norwich. I like the squad very much. Just as a general point, what is going on with this transfer window though? Because I did not expect to be talking to you about a Boro-Norwich game where Hackney and Sargent were still there and it's just some weird delay on there. I mean, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing that Championship owners, the Atanasios at Norwich and Gibson at Middlesbrough, are saying, no, give us our price for our star asset, or we're gonna hold out now. So it just seems odd that it's gone so delayed this year.
And maybe Manning didn't expect it. Maybe Manning expected Josh Sargent to leave, and they've kind of planned around it. That's kind of how it feels. Kvistgaarden coming in from Bromby.
Yeah, it could be that.
That's how it felt.
Could be that.
Yeah, who knows? Let's move on to Hull City versus Blackburn Rovers. 0-3. Todd Cantwell lighting up the show, running the game. Apparently in the Hull camp there was a bit of illness, so we're kind of giving them a little bit of a bye this weekend. And 3-0, was it a 3-0 game? I'm not so sure it was. But still, good, fantastic result for Blackburn, really, away.
Yeah, and Blackburn have done this to me over the last few years. You kind of think, oh, they're struggling. They're on
drag me right back in.
Yeah, they're on a Godfather, isn't it? Yeah, they're on a downward trend. But some beautiful goals as well. Hedges dink, and as you say, Cantwell can be anything Cantwell wants to be if he's in the mood. I remember him as a youngster coming through at Norwich, and to be fair, it was a good gig because they had Buendia and Pookie and Farker and a great team, and he could kind of, come into a team that was the team that was winning. But no, the gig for Cantwell is he's the captain of Blackburn Rovers and the main man of a team where is he going to be a leader in terms of being the sort of top man there. So surprised by the result, given what we'd seen before, and the Hull fans were pretty confident, weren't they? But hey, maybe we'll run with your illness in the camp narrative there, and we'll say the Hull fans were right all along. But great win and I do like Big Val Ismail, so good to see him get off the mark.
Yeah, really good to see that. Okay, we're going to talk about the fantastic Stoke City, which we've obviously not touched on enough in pre-season. Dave on the pre-season show said that they'd hit the ground running at some stage, and by God, they've hit the ground running already, haven't they, Ben? Stoke City, top of the table under Mark Robins. I don't know if that sounds right.
The whole thing just feels like a trap. Feels like a trap for somebody who does this. You're reeling me in here with 3 Stoke wins at the start. I've been here so many times before and got excited about Stoke. Why different now? I mean, you could say Mark Robins, but Alex Neil was called a very credible manager earlier in the show. Michael O'Neill was kind of statesman-like. Nathan Jones was the hot young thing. He was in League One at Luton at the time. I don't know. Mark Robins does give you this sense of real, it's a bit dour almost sometimes, and it's real calm, down to earth. It's not going to be. I know it's all that cliche of don't get too high with the highs and too low with the lows. Mark Robins is going to be on a level. I think they've benefited from what we've spoken about, Connor, in that I know Berger went out and that was an asset that had to be sold. But they've been quite stable. Same manager through. Again, people get cross with me if I say soft fixtures, but they've just gone away to Southampton and got a win, and they were down to 10 men at 1-0 and went 2-0 up. So it's very Mark Robins, isn't it? It's very steady. But we were just saying before we came on, 8 goals, all from open play as well. So, we talked about a Mark Robins side, his most successful side. Well, did they have 2 cheat codes there? Were they reliant on, get the ball to Hamer and he'll get it to Gyökeres there? But they're making a lot of chances and scoring. Obviously, Coventry have gone ridiculous in terms of the goal scoring stats. They're at the top of every kind of metric there. But Stoke have informed forwards. They look like they've got a really good elite loanee in Mubama, and it doesn't half help if you've got a keeper who's saving everything at the same time, does it?
He's different gravy. Again, we've got to talk about Victor Johansson, outstanding again. And that's not to say that the onus was on him to keep Stoke in the game, but your keeper really needs to keep you in certain moments when you're under the cosh a little bit. Sorba Thomas as well, especially that second finish, brilliant finish on the left side.
He's got to be the best value signing of August so far. Was he free? I can't
he
even.
Was. Yeah, he was free. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So, but I think as well under Robins as well, they've looked really good on the transition. They've looked strong. They're pressing high.
These Coventry teams were weren't they?
Yeah. So the message seems to be getting across though. So from a Stoke perspective, I mean, can you last the course? I guess that's the question right now, isn't it? We were just talking about the fixture pile up as well, the depth in the squad. Do you think they need to bring some further additions in as well to maybe sustain that?
Well, I chat to Stoke fans, Connor, sometimes, and they say that's exactly what they shouldn't do, because over the years we've seen it over and over again. Right, here comes Rowett and a load of players. Here comes Jones and a new squad. O'Neill, they kind of didn't do it, but then in the next window they did do it, and they always seem to bring him out. And it was ridiculous last season, starting with Schumacher, then Narcis Pelak, remember that? For a couple of months, and then all of a sudden you go into Mark Robins. So I dare say, no, there's quality. There's quality in that squad. There's always been, right since 2018 when there's always been quality in that squad, and they've always seemed to go with experienced Championship hands. And now they've got we talked a lot on this show about the Asian market as well. Now they've got a couple of really good Asian players in there as well, and like you say, the Thomas signing seems to be working. They seem to have got the loan signing right. So look, do you want more good players or less good players? I'm sure every fan wants Nice new signing, holding up their Stoke City shirt to end the transfer window. But I don't think continuity in this case is a bad thing. And for a Stoke to have the unicorn season, they probably need complete stability, lack of injuries, just everything online, and then, of course, a bit of help from others with more money messing it up.
Yeah, and it feels this season. Just talking about
doors
that,
open, mate.
Talking about that briefly. We're gonna obviously move on to that, but now we're obviously talking about Southampton within this conversation as well. Absolutely spot on the money. The door feels open right now, doesn't it, for maybe a Coventry, a Birmingham City, a Stoke City to really break through that ceiling. That's kind of what it's looking like right now. You are quite right when it comes to August and teams sort of figuring things out and getting to that stage, and then you see really in October, November, December, don't you, the proper teams, if you want to coin it that way. But there's an opportunity this season, Ben. Feels like there is.
I think so. The difficulty with this conversation is, would you be surprised if you and I sat here in the middle of November and the parachute teams are all rocking 2 points per game, and they have been for 10, 12 games, and the momentum is there. So
there's got to be hope, Ben. There's got to be hope for the pyramid.
There's got to be hope. It needs... Well, what you need is for them to start beating each other, and for the playoff teams to be able to be competitive against the top four, because that's been the problem over the last couple of seasons. You've just had a top four that's just beaten everybody else and been streets ahead in 85 and 90, and two teams on 100 points last season. Ludicrous. So you want it to condense a bit, and you probably do need an Anis Horribilis from one team to just completely blow out and finish in the bottom half. And let's all hope that team is not Ipswich Town.
Yeah.
Well, Sheffield United at the bottom of the table, also, they're not the worst parachute team, Ipswich. But for a Stoke, you just want that. Look, if they're at the 2 points per game mark at game 10, they're sat there with 20 points. Looking at where we are right now, they should be well in the conversation. And mate, you've done Championship for long enough. Momentum, good feeling, those intangibles mean a lot in a 46-game league where it's bang, bang, go. Muscle memory. I think we can play well 10 times in the season. Rest of it, just win, fight it out, get the job done. And got a manager there in Mark Robins who's won a lot of football matches at Coventry for the majority of the last 4 or 5 years.
Not notoriously a quick starter though, is it? It's quite interesting right now how sort of aggressive they've been. How you just mentioned how they played, how he set up his Coventry sides, very, very press heavy. Up the pitch, recoveries in the final third. It's interesting how so quickly earlier on in the season Stoke looked so fit and so on it. And I guess there's a little bit of a change there to what Coventry have been at the start of most seasons, isn't there?
It's difficult because it's that whole thing, the hairdresser's paradigm, I call it, when you get new hairdressing, who cut that last? And you don't want to be having a pop at the previous management, but Robins has talked a lot about the culture and the dressing room, and suggesting, I think it was not his post-match this week but last week, the players are starting to get it. They were managing themselves in the halftime team talk, and you do need that help from the dressing room. And you remember his Coventry sides where you'd have a McFadzean or an Allen or somebody, that leadership in the side, those wizened players. And as much as we want our flashy signings and all of that, you've got to have that right buzzword. You've got to have that right culture, and I don't think it's insignificant that he's been messaging that to the fans and saying they're starting to get it now. This is my team acting and conducting themselves in a way I want them to. Yeah,
I think it's important as well that we touch on. Obviously, we've touched on many of the top teams so far. Southampton. Feels like they've got about 150 strikers, and they're playing that.
Good strikers.
They're playing that one lone striker. Adam Armstrong doesn't feel like that's working at this moment in time. I thought Stoke neutralised him quite effectively at the weekend as well. But I can't help. Once again, it's getting to that point again. I hate. It's not a bad, obviously, a negative to all Southampton fans, but you kind of want that sort of those demoted teams to be interrupted a little bit. As a neutral. I know you won't, Ben, but. I still feel like with the chances that they're creating, the quality of that team, it is going to come together at some stage under Will Still. He's probably just feeling that team out a little bit. But struggled at the weekend, didn't they?
Yeah, I've seen them a couple of times. I think they've been quite good. You know, I've kind of liked what I've seen, although I did say earlier in the show Wrexham were a bit unlucky in terms of a potential, you know, dog-so red card that didn't get given. But so much quality. I feel a bit sorry for Will Still, because it was the pre-match actually, he just gets asked over and again about Diblin and about Fernandez and about players coming in, and you can see that if Will Still could just get all his dealings done and just shut the door on those questions right now, he would. And I'm pretty confident. I mean, look, maybe he's just sold me the bill of goods because he's a great talker and he seems very calm and astute, doesn't he? I'm fairly confident that him plus the quality of that squad is going to work. And this might sound ridiculous logic, Connor. Sometimes it's not a bad thing. Get that home defeat out of the way early. You know, learn the lessons from it. Build, get on a run. I think they'll be all right. That's a hunch rather than anything data led.
Yeah, 100%, and you'd expect a little bit more business there as well. So
they look Connor. They look ahead of Ipswich, don't they?
I think they do.
Yeah,
no, yeah. I mean,
Leicester's interesting though, isn't it? Because Leicester got more points than
Abdul Fattah.
than the others.
They've got to keep hold of him, haven't they? They've got to keep hold of him. What a player. Let's move on to the weekend ahead, Ben. We've got some good games coming up, some interesting battles at the top, we can say now, with Stoke and obviously West Bromwich Albion kicking off 12:30 on Saturday. The Baggies going to be boinging into this one. What's going to go on? Do you think, I mean, this is probably, there's an argument at least that this is another really, really tough test for Stoke up against the Baggies. I thought they were blatantly not given a penalty at the weekend against Portsmouth, obviously. Ryan Mason been sent.
Is he going to have a ban
he will
for this one?
Ban, So he'll have a touchline ban for this one. Obviously, you know, he's very, very exuberant, isn't he? And very...
Which is strange, because when you hear him talk, he's really kind of...
really calm,
gentle, isn't he?
Yeah. So I think he'll be a big presence missed on the sideline.
Definitely.
This is going to be a good game, isn't it? Stoke West Brom.
Really nice setup, isn't it? Because I've liked what I've seen from West Brom. Obviously, Isaac Price is the hot hand, and you mentioned the penalty shouts. Hegabo, the striker, looks like he's, you know, he's got the bruiser qualities that you need in the Scandinavian, this Haaland kind of prototype thing that we've got in our heads. Tom Fellows started really well as well. So yeah, but again, I'm sure his agent's phone's going to be lively in the last week of the transfer window, isn't it? It's just all about Stoke, though, really, isn't it? Because what you're waiting to see is, imagine Stoke win like 3. Imagine they win like 3-0, and it's really convincing. You know, our conversation we've just had, then that gets hyped up another level, and we sit there for 2 weeks having that conversation over international break. But I thought West Brom were good, and I think first half of the Blackburn game in round 1. I didn't see the game, but apparently very, very good. Lots of positives in the win at Wrexham. You can run the narrative that you just did, that possibly they win this game against Pompey at the weekend if they get the penalty shout, or there's a dog-so shout as well that I think Ryan Mason lost his head on. But I think you've got to make Stoke favourites given the manager's absence, given the home advantage, and just the sheer good feeling there is going to be it's not going to be a wet, windy Tuesday, and a nice summer's Saturday at Stoke.
Weather is
and my alliteration. Thank you, everyone.
The weather is supposed to turn, so it could be wet and windy. But yeah, someone's going to have to take that L, aren't they? Neither team have lost yet. It absolutely stinks of a draw.
Stop it.
And you know, let's hope it's not that. Pompey up against Preston. Preston's good start. You know, obviously on the road, that's going to be tested. They've had 2 brilliant wins, haven't they, at home? On the road, it's going to be tested. Mousinho's Pompey were absolutely fantastic at home all last season, weren't they? What do you make of this one?
Well, I had your kind of setup. Pompey good at home, but they lost at home to Norwich this season, and they got the draw and they won away at Oxford. Yeah. So they've scored all their points away from home. So they're going to want to get Fratton rolling. I do think Preston will skew better at home, and you know they're travelling this one, but I've got to say what they used to say in the 90s, never write off the Germans. At the moment, underestimate Preston at your peril, and we complicate this game. The goalkeeper's playing well and the striker's playing well, and they're hard to beat. If you're hard to beat and your striker's scored in every game, and he's a bit of a handful and a bit of an ogre, Osmajic, isn't he? So you said the last one smacks of down the middle. You wouldn't be surprised if... and also, sometimes you look at a game, Connor, and you're like, oh, if this one ended... If this one's 1-1 with 20 to go, both managers are probably going to be thinking, okay, international break. What would it be? 5 points for Pompey they'd go in with. Preston would go in with 8, 2 points per game. Wouldn't be unhappy with that. But hey, dream big, Preston. Can I go to Pompey and get the win? But I'm going to say what you said about the previous one on this one. I feel like I'm going right down the middle.
Yeah, very unexpected though, like you just mentioned. I think Osmajic has been superb so far.
He's box office, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I mean, how many goals are we projecting he can get? I mean, he needs facilitators, obviously, in that Preston side, and they're going to primarily focus on being hard to beat, of course, and they're not as vivacious going forward as some others.
But Connor, sorry to interrupt, they could have had egg on their face because another big striker from Preston, Reece, they allowed the contract to expire, so they really need a good season from Osmajic, else everyone's going to be saying, oh, well, you let Reece go, and you tell me, it's very much looking like double figures minimum, and you want to hit that 15 number. And the thing Preston has struggled with a lot since, say, the days of Hugill and Callum Robinson is building stars. And you know how much money, even with a bit of an interesting CV with the EFL, let's just say, you know how much money a 15, 20 goal Championship striker's worth, which is what we need to see the likes of Preston in the middle of the table do. Build stars, make money, compete with the ridiculous financial inequalities that we've done well not to talk about in this podcast today.
Have you got, just finishing off on Preston just a little bit, have you got a little bit more optimism now than what you had at the beginning of the season as well?
Connor, I've got a lot more optimism. Thank you to the sheer barracking I have taken from the Preston fans. But look, we got to stay calm. We go with the information we've got at the start of the season, and the bad run at the end of last season. So I wasn't the only one who assumed it would ride out. And also, I know Preston fans won't like this possibility, but again, this could be a peak. I'm not saying the peak. This could be a peak, and things could regress to the mean somewhat. So yeah, make hay while the sun is shining, as I always say.
100%. Watford, Southampton back on track potentially.
I don't know. I mean, I've just said I like Will Still. What about Iran Kunda? He looks fun, doesn't he?
He does look very fun.
Looks really fun. And you see him swazzing that free kick in the top corner. Yeah. It's always you see one coming from Bayern Munich. You're like, okay.
Great recruitment, haven't they?
Potso special this one could be. And I've got Watford as being a team that are going to score the majority of their points at home. I was going to say at Vicarage Road, but surely Watford should score the most points at Vicarage Road out of any Championship team. They had a really bad home record. But it's a parachute team again, isn't it?
It feels like all three could be draws. All three's...
This is the beauty of the Championship and the terror of August and not really know. But hey, look, in November when we've got a really clear line, we'll be saying it's too predictable, won't we? On paper it's a Southampton win, but I'm not sure it's that simple, is it?
Championship never is, Ben. Is it? The Championship never is. We'll move on to our fourfold bet now. So we're going to pick 2 each going into the weekend games. Let us know in the comment section below what you guys think as well. Me and Ben might be picking the wrong horses here. Saturday 3 p.m. only, so get it in the chat. Ben, do you want to go first or should I go first?
No, you carry on, mate.
I'll go first. Right, I'm going to pick Coventry. Yes, Simon, if you're watching.
To score 7?
To score 8.
Not on Gary Rowett's watch, I tell you.
Against Oxford away. I've got them continuing that form. I love the composition of the squad at this moment.
You don't see Oxford frustrating and getting a clean sheet?
No. I see this momentum with Coventry right now. I think Van Ewick's playing extremely well. We were just speaking about the balance of the front line. Rodoni just in behind, committing his... I think right now everything is going really positively, and I'm trying to be light and day with Coventry at this moment in time. So my first pick, Ben, don't try to put me off, is Coventry City. What about yours, sir?
Well, I've got to go for Ipswich, haven't I? It's going to be a miserable international break, isn't it? We've got the parachute money now. We're the favourites to win the title at the start of the season. I'm sure that's drifted somewhat in the last month. So it's Ipswich at home to Derby. Obviously, the issue I've got is I watched Derby on Friday night, and 3 at the back and wing backs? No, back 5, flat across the width of the pitch. So can Derby do what Preston did and keep the clean sheet? And the other thing that doesn't bode well for Ipswich, even though I have backed them, is it's going to be another ridiculous off-pitch week coming up for the last week of the transfer window with them, there's still plenty to do, and it's a lot of these deals seem far away, and it all just escalates in the last few days. But man, they need the win. 0 wins from August is not what we were forecasting for McKenna.
And this stinks. That could stink.
Are you going 0-0 here?
Of a Eustace special. He's got it in the locker, hasn't he?
He's got it in the locker. He definitely has.
He really has. Second pick, sorry, Sheffield Wednesday fans. I'm going to go with Sheehan Swansea. I'm just not sure. I think we've kind of touched on it a little bit as well, Ben. I wonder about, obviously the goalkeeper's injured now, isn't he? I wonder about if Sheffield Wednesday are going to be able to sustain this. They've got Leeds United obviously on Tuesday as well. What squad are they going to put out for that? Are they going to have to put the same squad out for that as they are then going to do for the weekend's game?
Probably
with what's at their disposal. Plucky Sheffield Wednesday, but I think the quality of
not beleaguered. Are they plucky now?
Yeah, they're plucky. Plucky Sheffield Wednesday. Which I think is a fair description for them right now. To be honest, I think they're really punching above the weight. But yeah, I'm going to go for Swansea for this one, mate. What's your next pick?
I'm going for the narrative here. We spoke about Millwall being ready and settled, and
I missed this.
Able to win games in the Championship, and they face Wrexham. So unfortunately for Millwall, we know that all the headlines will go to Wrexham, but I'm going to go for Millwall to make it 0 wins for. But let's accentuate the positive. It would be a 3rd win for Millwall in August to put them over the 2 points per game marker, but you'd think they will be confident going into a home game against Wrexham. So I'll back Wall for the home win.
Yeah, literally backs against the wall as well. It feels like with they're going to be the favourites coming into this. Wrexham, aren't they? Albeit maybe there's a conversation they shouldn't be the favourites coming into this, but with the person
in the market they will be the favourites. In real life, they may not be. Yeah,
you just feel this is a Millwall game, isn't it? So, You come to town, you think you're going to be the resilient Millwall. So yeah, it's a good one. It's a good pick. I'm trying to think of which one's going to go the other way in that one. I think I'd maybe pick a draw for that one, but
I quite like Sheffield Wednesday actually. Back against you, but there we go.
There we go. Yeah, good stuff. Right, okay, guys. Let us know in the comment section below what you think about all of our selections and all of the talking points today as well. We are going to be back on Friday to preview Middlesbrough versus Sheffield United. Ben, so join us for that one, but please like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you very soon, everybody. Cheers.